Hi, my name's Jeff Shelton. I'm owner of Dracyon Corporation. And I just want everybody to know that I'm a happy owner because I love what I do. I love air cannons and I love making improvements in industry. The first improvement we want to talk about is air cannons. Wow, I talk a lot about air cannons. But I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. Do you know, I'm reading a business book and it causes you to tells us to rethink our widely held assumptions. You know, one assumption might be, I have to have an orange air cannon because they're the market leader, they're the best. That's one assumption and it's actually the assumption that I would like to disprove. So, Martin Engineering, the orange cannon, we might refer to them as the orange pumpkin. Yes, it's meant to be a little derogatory, but not much because they do make a good air cannon. You know, the design of the air cannon is not what we take issue with. It's how they apply them and how the industry uses them. It is the industry's responsibility to demand better performance. If you think for a second frequent maintenance and having to use high pressure water washing and card oxygen is acceptable, then you need to turn this video off because we're going to tell you it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. Years ago when I first got into air cannons, the thing was when you go to plant, they'd go, okay, I need you to replace the high pressure water washing in my riser duct. Well, the riser ducts at that time were much smaller and we had no problem replacing them. But most of the time it came in two cannons from one side. But now as the plants have gotten bigger, because that's right, technology keeps expanding. Right now cement is in a technology revolution and they're building plants 12,000 tons per day. Years ago, the average was what, 750 tons per day? You know, so they're much, much bigger. But should the air cannon evolve to match the evolution of the cement industry? At Dracyon, we believe, well, I'm not going to say yes, I'm going to go absolutely. Absolutely. Technology has to expand. It's time that you follow the science and allow technology to catch up to the air cannons. Recently, I'm reading a book about technology, right? And in this book, it says by 1950, the medicine technology had doubled since 1900. Like, I thought, wow, that's not very much. By 1980, the technology was doubling every 7 years, from 50 years to 7 years. That's quite an investment, an advancement. But today, they say it doubles every 3.5 years. I don't want yesterday's solutions to my problems today. So the question I ask, if you have those orange pumpkins, Martin Engineering cannons, did you know that they were designed 16 years ago? You're using technology that was designed to solve the solutions when cement towers were much smaller. And they did a good job. Why do you think they're the market leaders? Why do you think in the US they probably have 80% of the market? It's not because they make a bad air cannon, and it's not because they don't know what they're doing. But wait a minute. Do they know what they're doing? What are they doing? That's the question I'm going to ask. And I'm going to tell you that they're like 99% of the companies. They're happy that you accept their technology and you keep buying it, even though you have to spend a lot of money on new valves, and then you keep buying them because they install them in an area that they can't protect the air cannon. I can take a Martin air cannon, I can protect it, and I can double the life. In fact, if you listen to what Dracyon says and protect the air cannon and operate it like we say you can and use the right nozzle, we'll give you that's right, I'm not going to stutter, I want to say it clear, a 10-year warranty. Air cannons are not having maintenance done on them because of the duty cycle. It's 100% because, well, 99% of the reason, because of the environment. Protect the air cannon from the environment and you'll love the performance that you get. One of the things that we're really big into believing, really big, if it's worth buying an air cannon, it's worth being able to get to it to perform maintenance on it. Why install it way up in the air where number one, you don't know when it fails. And number two, how are you going to get to it when it fails? Install the technologies exist today so where you can get the air cannon, so where you can get to it and safely perform maintenance on it. Safely. Do you know, I never thought that when I first got in the business, I'd be a guy talking about safety. But here's a guy who's had a couple of near misses because I didn't follow the safety rules. And I'm very grateful that they were near misses. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm very safe, and I encourage everyone to be safe. Getting up 5 meters or 10 meters up in the air to fix an air cannon just isn't safe. You have to tie off, and it takes a lot of extra time. Install the cannon so where you can get to it safely, and everything's not so hot. Keep, you know, I wonder, you know, we tell people to follow the science, right? So the question is, every cannon has a high temperature rubber seal in it. This high temperature rubber seal is high temperature at 350 degrees. But you are told to install it as close as you can to a vessel that's 2,000 degrees. Does that make sense to you? Or does that mean, yes, I'm going to have to perform maintenance on it because of the environment? Yes, you're going to have to perform maintenance on a hot air cannon, which increases or decreases the safety. It makes it harder to work on. And in fact, you know, I've heard it said, like, who do I dislike the most this week? That's who I'm going to have work on air cannons. Let's make it an honor. Let's make it a privilege to work on air cannons. Okay, let's talk a little bit about high pressure water washing and cardoxing. High pressure water washing? First of all, I was at a cement conference and a refractory salesman told me the best sales tool he has is a Wama gun to get the plants to do high pressure water washing so he can get refractory business. It kills your refractory. You know, I can't tell you how many plants out there that replace the refractory in their riser duct and their feed shelf every year because of high pressure water washing. And really, high pressure water washing is safe? Do you know that in Europe people have been killed with high pressure water washing? You got thousands of pounds of pressure. You know, it is a completely unsafe project. And I'm going to tell you what, if you were a parent, you wouldn't want one of your siblings to do that job. You'd say, no, go get another job, don't do that. But it's something that plants feel like they have to do today because the air cannons aren't eliminating it. But if you apply the air cannons properly, you don't have to do the high pressure water washing. You need to demand your air cannons eliminate high pressure water washing, or at the very minimum, instead of doing it once a shift, do it once a week. Eliminate this unsafe, costly endeavor. Let's talk about the cost. First of all, I don't have to tell you that the water decreases the efficiency. You're putting all that cold water in a hot tower, so you know that it increases your efficiency. But it's more than that. Did you know that I've been told by a cement plant that a 1-inch diameter hole in the tower lets enough false air in that it costs $50 an hour to heat? $50 an hour. Like, who cares about $50 an hour, right? But when you open a big door, an 8x8 door, for example, to high pressure water wash, you let 64 times more air in. So to me, right, wrong, or indifferent, I took the $50 an hour, multiplied it by 64, and got over $3,000 an hour. Now that is something everybody should care about, because on an annual basis, that's $4 million based on a 350-day year. $4 million that you can avoid. It's in your ability to avoid that cost. Be a star of your company. Eliminate the false air. Save $4 million a year. One of the things that we want to tell you is that when you have a riser duct and say that it's 4 meters long, 12 feet, and you have an air cannon that cleans 3 feet, 3 feet from one side, 3 feet from the other. So you have 6 feet in the middle, 4 meters is 12 feet. You have 6 meters where it builds up. And that's enough to where it can get to the other side and close it off. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I'm going to tell you that there's no way, I don't care who does it, a 4-inch cannon with a 70-liter tank with the smart nozzle will ever clean a lot longer than that. The design of the nozzle is based on a fan jet nozzle, which cleans a short wide. I don't know how many times, but it's in the thousands, that the smart nozzle or fan jet nozzle has proven to clean 1 meter in front, 3 feet. 3 feet. You can't eliminate high pressure water washing when you're leaving the middle 6 feet open. You have to be able to get there. So how do you do it? Well, technology is how you do it. You know, Dracyon offers what we call the Big Blue. It's an 8-inch cannon, double the size of a 4-inch. But the peak force, which, you know, that's a whole nother story. But if you're going to sell an air cannon on peak force, it has over 5,000 pounds of peak force. 4-inch air cannon has only 1,250 pounds of peak force. Wow, what a difference. But it actually gets down to the nozzle design. You have to have a nozzle designed to get distance. The nozzle that we propose will get the distance. We can clean the entire length of that riser duct with one cannon. In other words, oh, that's right, one cannon replaces 2 cannons, so you don't have to come from each side. We have done it, we have proven it, we can show it to you in CFDs, we can show it to you in videos, and we can show it to you in practice. It's not if we can do it, it's if we can get you to believe us that we can do it. And I can tell you, always, the proof is in the pudding. Just give us a chance to prove it. This is an installation that kind of proves what I'm talking about. This is an 8-inch cannon that's being required to move a bunch of rocks. 2 multiplier system on 1 cannon, so you discharge out of 2 ports. If you look at this first photo, you can see where the piles of rocks were. They're asking air cannons to move piles of rock. That's a lot to ask an air cannon. The second picture, the after picture, is where they cycled the air cannon over and over and over again to move this pile of rock. And you can see it moved a lot of rock. But I'm telling you, you can't move a lot of rock if you don't have a combination of power and volume. You have to have that consistent flow. Our competitors tell you the volume's not important. We go, baloney. And we can show you over and over and over again that volume is important. Here's an example. Now these are both 4-inch cannons. But this is, the first blast is a 70-liter cannon that's blowing on 50 pounds of sand. Yeah. If you're there, that's pretty impressive. But if you watch it on video, you go, not so impressive. The second one, hold on, baby, here comes a wow, or shall we say a boom. Because the second one is a cannon, 4-inch, but has the right nozzle, and it has 4 times the cleaning energy, which is another way of saying it has a 300-liter tank instead of a 70-liter tank. Over 4 times the volume of air, which is your cleaning area. Instead of moving 7 pounds of sand, it moves all 50 pounds of sand. It's really impressive. If that's what you need, if you convert the nozzle to where you clean depth, you can clean your entire riser duct, and you can eliminate high pressure water washing or cardoxing. One of the things when I was in Europe, I was at a plant and we were talking about replacing some blue air cannons. They weren't orange. At the time I was working with the orange guys. And the plant says, yeah, we cardox on Tuesday, and on Wednesday we fix air cannons. I go, what? He goes, yes, the cardox throws all the stuff back in the cannon, and so that breaks all the cannons, so we have to repair the air cannons. So the air cannons weren't eliminating the need for cardoxing. Not a good air cannon. And B, they're not protected from the environment because when you did supplemental cleaning, it killed them. You don't have to do that. Protect your air cannon from the environment and you'll get much, much better results. In closing, we're going to ask you to do the following. Follow the science. Listen to the science. Listen to our version of the science, and then listen to the orange guy's version of the science, and then go with what you think the science tells you. I'm telling you, the science does not tell you that you need a high peak force, low volume cannon. If you follow the science, it's going to tell you something different. Somebody, I won't say who, told me that air can't classify as volume because it's too little weight. Weight is weight. If you have a compressed bottle, you can tell when it's full because you can feel the difference in the weight. Air is not a very heavy material, but it does have weight, and weight does help cleaning. End of story. Absolutely, positively. And if I'm wrong, I'll go to my grave wrong. So follow the science, make your own decisions, and we'll be there to support you. Thank you.